As the container vessel APL Boston leaves the Chinese port of Chiwan and gets underway towards Singapore, the seafarers on board have an extra measure of protection. Maritime transport accounts for as much as 80% of world trade. Today, some 1.5 million seafarers work and live on ships worldwide. Life at sea has its risks and hazards. Many seafarers are far from home for months and face a working environment that often includes dangerous weather, cultural or ethnic isolation, long shifts, and little opportunity for shore leave. They are also vulnerable to exploitation. Seafarers have experienced abuse, charging of fees for finding employment, non-payment of wages, breach of contracts, poor food supplies, unhygienic living spaces, and even abandonment in foreign ports. The Maritime Labour Convention 2006 aspires to change all this. The MLC 2006 sets out rules and standards for the working and living conditions of seafarers worldwide, while at the same time ensuring a fair business environment for ship owners. It is changing the lives of seafarers like Dinesh, the third officer on the APL Boston.
At sea, I normally wake up at around 7 o'clock, and then I go get ready and go for my breakfast. And after breakfast, 8 o'clock, my daily work starts. 8 o'clock will be my watch, navigation watch from 8 to 12. After 12, I break out for my lunch. Then again 1 o'clock, I go for my daily maintenance work.
Under the terms of the MLC 2006, standards for Dinesh's wages, annual paid leave, repatriation, medical care, and social security benefits are spelled out in his contract, known as the Seafarers Employment Agreement, or SEA. Ship owners are also required to ensure decent working and living conditions on board, in accordance with the detailed standards of the Convention.
I'm doing the normal maintenance, checking the condition of nozzles and hydrants inside accommodation. It's one of the normal practice, normal maintenance. Easy to close back, easy to switch over to nozzle, jet mode and spray mode. Nowadays we got EPUB, ships going here and there, you can get the help from the other ship, you can communicate, we got portable VHF, SAT, all GMD equipment we have, so it can easily, once we have in distress, definitely the distress signal within 15 minutes it can be reached shore.
Anand is fourth engineer. His job involves working with the engine and handling chemicals, oil, and fuel bunkering. Everything is done according to procedure.
Check the oil level, clean the filters so that the pressure again is good and ensures the normal running. And on purifiers, there's routine maintenance, like set period hours that you have to do it, open up and clean, and that is fixed.
The MLC 2006 also seeks to ensure that all possible measures are in place to guarantee accident prevention and the safety protection of the crew.
Every month, we have to conduct the departmental safety meeting with all the officers and crew. During this department safety meeting, what I really want to deliver is the behavior, the base safety they should have. So we try to deliver the message to them we want to achieve. We discuss with the crew and the junior officer about any injury, incidents they reported to the company that we share among us. Then we try to prevent not to happen on board our ship.
The MLC 2006 sets very specific standards about the maximum hours of work and the minimum hours of rest that may be applied on board. Work schedules must be posted, and seafarers must be given copies of daily records of hours worked. That's important to Hoven, one of the ship's cooks.
Now we have go through the training, so before you go sailing, the shipwright must good training, and then you have a quality, and then also the rest hour. So the important is the rest hour also.
quality of living conditions and recreation during the off hours is also emphasized under the MLC 2006.
So I'll make sure that they have a proper recreation on board the ship, like what we're having here on board. We have a full gym equipment on board the ship, pool tables. We have a lot of games like bingo, horse racing, and then they're also enjoying all kind of other facilities like accommodations, good quality food.
Now MLC enforced so people will get more safer working environment and more rest hour, so that when they are working they are fresh, so they are not fatigued, so that they can perform a much safer job.
Besides ensuring modern standards for occupational safety and health, the MLC 2006 also guarantees an effective complaint handling procedure that is open to everyone on board.
It's very transparent nowadays for seafarers. Now we have we call things like complaint procedures. If any crew, they come and look for us things, they have their right to complain about anything on board the ship, including their living condition, food, water, wages, anything. They can go and see the head of department. Once they discuss with the head of department, then the head of department will bring the matter to me, then I'll try to solve the matter on board the ship. If I'm unable to solve them, then I'll bring to my company. So that's the one thing good about the MLC.
Every commercial vessel of 500 gross tons or more on international voyages now carries a maritime labor certificate, showing compliance with standards set out in the MLC 2006, and a declaration of maritime labor compliance, prescribing concrete measures to implement those standards on a particular ship. They both relate to every aspect of work and living conditions on board. Certification of labor conditions on board ships, properly enforced through port state control measures, promise to change the culture of seafaring.
For me, I started off with old ships, and now, this transition has really been comforting. So I feel this is the best that I can be with. I feel the good spirit that comes between us, that is developed among the crew, really helps us in our work, and really, I guess, is a motivation to keep going on, because this, as at sea, we are all an isolated group, so we need to keep up our spirits.
As a master, you should keep the ship safe and happy, so that all the crew will be happy working with you. With MSC, you can do things like you must make sure the people on board have adequate rest, comply with the rest hour period law, and not overwork. This may ensure that there's a safety of their life. MSC is a good thing which is happening to seafarers now. It's good because now with the MSC, I know all my crew members are medically fit, properly trained and certified.
As the APL Boston ends its journey, the seafarers on board know the real difference the Maritime Labour Convention 2006 is about to bring to their daily lives, putting their job security, health and safety, and well-being in the center of labor protection, nationally and internationally.
During the crisis, the ship's master will be responsible for ensuring proper communications, although he may enlist the help of a crew member to coordinate information to allow him to keep a broad overview. This helps the ship's master avoid tunnel vision and at the same time keep track of all members of the emergency squads and firefighting equipment. This accountability is very important since safety is a critical component of the fire response. Finally, the captain will coordinate the efforts of the fire team with the emergency plan. Ultimately, it will be the captain's decision if it is necessary to abandon ship. The actual fire is fought by the emergency fire team. This team is normally led by the chief officer. With larger crews, a vessel may have two teams. When this occurs, one team is led by the chief mate and the other by the first assistant engineer. The teams back each other up. During a fire on deck or in living quarters, the chief mate's team will be the lead team, while the other team, led by the first assistant engineer, will act in a supporting role. If the fire is in the engine room, the roles will be reversed, with the chief mate's team serving to support the first assistant engineer's team. During training, be sure and cross-train members of each team so that they may assist as needed. Regardless of which team is in command of the fire suppression effort, the team leader will immediately report to the scene and supervise the tactical operations. He will oversee the implementation of fire suppression strategy and communicate with all tactical units. The officer in charge of the fire team will keep the bridge informed of the current situation as operations progress. After the alarm is sounded and the team's muster, roll call is done. At this point, the senior officers can determine if any crew members are missing. If someone does not show up at muster, attention to an engine room fire that has gone beyond the incipient phase and has entered the free burning phase. Here, extreme levels of heat and smoke have accumulated in the overhead. Visibility can be non-existent. If a fixed system has not or cannot be employed, a team of firefighters may be required to go in and combat the fire. In this scenario, the decision to use foam to put out the fire is made. The firefighting team consists of a water hose team, a foam line team, and a team leader. Before the team enters, a decision must be made regarding ventilation. Elimination of ventilation points will cut down on the amount of oxygen feeding the fire, but this keeps heat and smoke from escaping, making entry difficult. This is a strategic decision that must be made on the part of the team leader. Opening upper ventilation vents will allow smoke and heat to exit, but will provide oxygen to the fire. Caution: when entry is made into a closed space that has not been ventilated, the entry point may become an inferno as heat, smoke, and flames vent themselves through the opening. The team leader decides that the heat and smoke in the space is too great to enter without ventilating, and makes the decision to ventilate so that firefighters can enter the room. Strategy and tactics, size up, fire party organization, and the command process are all crucial elements of any shipboard fire response. They are critical components intricately linked, but all depend on one key element: the pre-planning process. Pre-planning provides the background and awareness that allows the ship's officers and crew to contain, control, and extinguish an emergency fire quickly and efficiently. Pre-planning, as the name indicates, begins long before the alarm bell sounds. It begins with a fire pre-plan manual. A fire pre-plan provides the immediate access and full knowledge of the ship's construction, fire suppression equipment, and fixed firefighting systems that senior officers and fire team leaders require. Keep in mind that this manual serves. Let's begin with the onboard emergency equipment. All officers must know the full capabilities of the equipment on board. That includes being familiar with the type of equipment on board, where it is located, and if the equipment is likely to be blocked by a major emergency. In further recognizing the limitations of firefighting equipment, you must know how large a fire can be fought without more equipment, and if more equipment is available shoreside. If reliance on shoreside equipment is a possibility, investigate the quality and quantity of equipment available, as well as the amount of time it will take to get it on board. It may also be necessary to rescue personnel. Check to see the quality and quantity of onboard equipment and determine if shoreside supplements will be required for rescue. Understanding the ship's equipment resources is an important first step in recognizing the ability to fight a fire. The second step. If the temperature of the exposed steel is over 212 degrees Fahrenheit, water will flash to steam. Continue to cool with the water pattern until no steam rises. Whenever water is being used to cool exposures as well as an extinguishing agent, use water discipline. This is particularly important when using shoreside assistants that may not be familiar with vessel dynamics. Water, though commonly used in fighting accommodation area fires, has some serious considerations. While water is effective, it is extremely heavy. For example, a 12-foot by 12-foot compartment filled with 6 inches of water has added 2.24 tons to its weight. With a fire hose at a flow rate of 100 GPM, this can occur in a little over 5 minutes. The captain must review the pre-planned drawings to consider the potential flooding, stability, and drainage problems associated with use of water. Also, the higher up on board the fire is, the stability issue intensifies. A good rule of thumb is to remove 1 gallon of water for every gallon you put on. While exposure is very important, be sure to minimize manpower consumption during this stage in preparation for later stages. When considering which items need protection from the heat of fire, don't overlook items such as closed containers, cargo piping, piping supports, firefighting equipment and lifeboats, as well as the obvious exposures such as adjacent fuel and cargo tanks. Next in order of priority is confinement of the fire. At this point, the immediate goal is to completely confine the fire so it does not spread or intensify. Remember, when a fire is confined, you have started to control it. Fire spreads 3 ways. First, through convection, which is the movement of heat and gases through open doors, hatches, ports. Building the strategy is like filling out a checklist, but it is done on the spot, quickly, and usually not on paper. To select the strategy, a clear picture of all components is required. For example, a captain that knows he has a 4,000 square foot gasoline deck fire is well on his way to building a strategy. After initial assessment, he knows the probability of the wind increasing or shifting is low. Referring to previous assessments, he knows that he has 8 crew members to fight the fire, and his resources